I've got a bunch of lenses out here that are potential portraiture lenses. Let's assume I brought out an 85 millimeter. Sometimes I get tired of dragging out lenses. So I've got I think I've got 11 or 12 85 millimeters. I didn't want to drag out another lens. So I've got an 85 millimeter here, even though you don't see it. Which of these lenses is best for portraiture? And nobody's made a video on this, and it kind of blows my mind. And it's really, really important. This is important. So you should watch this video. I really don't say that very often. I say it rarely. Got a 70 to 200 2.8. Here I have, oh my god, the 105 f2 DC Nikkor. Over here I've got 6 of these lenses. They're so great. The 180 millimeter f2.8 Nikkor. And here I have the honking Super Mama 300 millimeter f2.8. It's so sexy it'll make you go, oh yeah. And 85 millimeter. Whoever makes it, whatever, doesn't matter. So, which of these lenses is best for portraiture? Pop quiz. You gonna say 85 millimeter or 105? The answer is all of them. Let's differentiate out the different types of portraiture, okay? What each one does differently. There have been people that have asked me the questions, like, I saw this dude taking portrait photography, and like his model was meow, and he was like way back meow, and he looked like he had a big old honking lens. And I say, did it look something like this? It's like, yeah, it did. It was even a little bit bigger. They say, why would you use that for portraiture? When I lived in San Francisco, there's actually a lot of model photographers out there and people that are shooting for fashion magazines. There's all these freaky places in San Francisco to take pictures for, Vogue and Harper's Bazaar, blah, 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 blah. Not everything is done indoors. A lot of the indoor studios are really long, too. That's why you can use lenses like this and like this. The answer for portraiture is all of them and what you want to accomplish. And here's what you are not getting. And I guarantee you don't get it. Some of you might get it, but most of you don't get it. There's a huge difference between depth of field and subject isolation. It's like, well, no, the 85 millimeter f1.4 would be best for portraiture. Oh, really? Who the hell says? Well, everybody knows it's the portraiture focal length. No. Yeah, yes, and no. Depth of field, oh, it's like, okay, great. You're going to get her eyeball in focus, and about this much of her face is going to be in focus. Well, that's great, Yeah, it's got beautiful bokeh behind her. It's like, yeah, and you know what? It also has a certain compression to the face. If you're going to frame the picture the same, the person the same in the either the FX or the DX sensor, obviously I'm going to have to move back if I use a big old lens like this or this or this. But if I frame them exactly the same, I have totally different composition. I have subject isolation. A lot of these magazines, actually all of them, like Harper's Bazaar and Vogue and whatnot, they're interested in what the hot chick is wearing. And when you got a shallow depth of field like this, that means that you cannot see what she is wearing. And that means that the people that are paying you to take pictures of that awesome dress on the hot model, they kind of don't like you. And you have not isolated the subject. Well, yeah, you have got a shallow depth of field. I got serious isolation. Everything is behind this depth of field is out of focus. And I got beautiful creamy bokeh. Bokeh! Is that everything? Is that everything? So now here's the question. Hardcore professional fashion photographer and portrait and model photographers that are using these lenses, right? Meow. 70, 200, 2.8, 105, which is not that long. It's not much longer than 85 millimeter. 180 millimeter. Oh my God, I love this lens. This lens is so sexy. That's why I got 6 of them. Why do I have 6 of them? Don't ask me why I have 6 of them. I have 6 of them because this lens is incredible. Really incredible. Why are they using lenses like this? Subject isolation. And compression, too. If you're going to frame the subject the same, people think, well, compression is just a matter of, where you're located. Yeah, but if you're going to frame them the same, you got totally different compression. The person's face will go from this to this. The longer you go, the more it does this to the face. I mean, here you go from fisheye to telephoto. Fisheye to telephoto. Telephoto to fisheye. It changes. If you frame the person the same in the 35 millimeter frame or the DX frame, Their face looks different. You can make a beautiful woman look ugly, and you can make an ugly woman look better. Well, you can't make an ugly woman look beautiful, but you can certainly make her facial geometry and how her face looks better if you frame them the same. Yeah, I know you have to back up, but people don't get that. If you back them up and you frame them the same, the compression of the nature of the rendering in the face is totally different. So the answer is that all of these, including the 85, are perfect portrait. All of these are portraiture lenses, including many others in the same long ilk, like the 400 2.8, the 300 2.8, which I've got right here, 200 2.8, the 200 millimeter f2, which is an absurdly, the 200 millimeter f2, which is $6,000 lens. This actually takes better images. This is the 180 f2.8. Tell me what the difference is between aperture and focal between a 200 millimeter f2 and a 180 millimeter f2.8. The answer is not much. Not much. And this lens actually has better color saturation and better rendering than that 6. See, I can find these lenses all day long for $300. That other lens is $6,000. This one actually takes better pictures. Rendition, phase, everything is better. The bandwidth, the phase, the gain, the resolution is better on this lens than that $6,000 lens. Believe it or not, I don't care if you don't believe me, it's true. Yes, I know firsthand. So all of these are valid portraiture lens. You don't read about that stuff anymore. Well, what's the best portrait lens? Someone's going to go, well, it's an 85 millimeter. Yeah, but for what? It's like, great, you got a nice shallow depth of field, but is that what you want? Did you really want subject isolation? Well, I thought shallow depth of field was subject isolation. Well, it kind of is, but not really. Well, why don't you take a picture on a DX camera with a 50 millimeter f1.2? I mean, you get a depth of field of like this. I mean, it'll literally be just about that much of the person's face will be in focus. Everything else before, like the nose will be out of focus and the ear will be out of focus, but this part will be in focus. That's great. If that's what you want, that's fine. If you want to isolate the subject, I'm going to stick on this lens right meow, step back about 100 feet. This lens right meow, 300 millimeter 2.8. That's a South Park reference, you know. It goes right meow. Step back 100 feet and isolate the subject completely. Get awesome compression, isolate the entire subject, and if it's for, where you want to actually show the entire subject in focus, from shoulder to butt crack, well, actually the exact thing is from nose tip to butt crack. Everything there is in focus, i.e. the entire person, but you've isolated the person. At 300 millimeters at f2.8, you got wonderful compression, and everything else back here behind her is out of focus with beautiful bokeh. This is a portraiture lens. Go follow a Harper's Bazaar or Vogue fashion photographer, and you won't. It's not to say they don't use an 85 millimeter, but you'll be seeing them using stuff like this. This is a valid portraiture. So you got to know what you want in portraiture. Do you want shallow depth of field? Because shallow depth of field is not really subject isolation. It is, but it isn't. True subject isolation requires a much longer focal length, and you get better compression out of a person's face if you frame them the same way, too. You kind of have to frame them the same way, because you're not going to take a portrait shot with a 300 millimeter unless you back the hell up. Unless you plan on like trying to shoot their nose hairs or something like that. Nobody wants to see that. So, the answer is yes. These are all portraiture lenses. My beginning statement at the start of this video was a trick question. Now you know the answer. So next time someone says, what's a perfect focal length for portraiture? All of these are. Know the difference between subject isolation, depth of field. Subject isolation, depth of field. Yeah? Yep. Yep. There's a lot of money worth of glass sitting on this table. People love it when I shake this table. Like, oh my God, everything's going to come crashing to the floor. I'll stop shaking that table. Get over it already, all right? Some of you people are funny.